My name is Lily Bennett. I'm 31 years old, 7 years ago. On the morning of my final interview, my father laughed in my face and said, "Girls like you don't get lives. Lily, you get duties." Right then, my mother blocked the front door while my younger sister dropped a heavy diaper bag at my feet and smirked. "Watch my daughter. I have brunch." They didn't care that I had one chance at a real future. They wanted me to stay there as an unpaid servant forever. So, I stepped over that bag, walked out the back door, and never looked back for 7 years. They thought they had destroyed me. They were wrong. Now the tables have completely turned. My sister is about to discover just how expensive her brunch that day truly was. Before I continue, if this story is already making your blood boil, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is right now. I read every single one. Let me know if you're on Team Lily because what happens next will leave you speechless. I need you to understand something about my family. We weren't poor, we weren't uneducated. We looked perfectly normal from the outside. My father owned Bennett Climate Control, a small HVAC company in Riverside, Ohio. 8 employees, a good reputation, a church-going family, 2 daughters. On paper, we were fine, but inside that house, there was a system, and I was at the bottom of it. My sister Claire was 2 years younger than me, but you'd never know it from the way my parents treated her. She was the golden one, the pretty one, the one who got pregnant at 19, and somehow that made her more valuable, not less. She had a daughter, Sophie, a beautiful little girl with blonde curls and my eyes. Sophie's first word was, my. Her first steps were toward me, not toward Claire. That should have been a red flag. But I was 20 years old, and I thought helping family was what you did. It started small. "Lily, can you watch Sophie for an hour while I run to the store?" Then it was 3 hours. Then it was all day Saturday. Then it was overnight. By the time I was 22, I was essentially raising my niece while Claire tried to become an influencer. That's not a joke. Claire started a lifestyle blog called Mommy in Motion. She had 14 followers, 12 of whom were relatives. She posted aesthetic photos of Sophie wearing boutique outfits my parents bought. She wrote captions about motherhood and sacrifice. She never mentioned that I was the one doing the actual mothering. The blog failed. Then she tried selling essential oils and lost $800. Then she tried photography. She booked one wedding, delivered the photos 3 months late, got a terrible review. But my parents never told her to get a real job. Instead, they told me I needed to help more. "Your sister is trying," my mother would say. "She's building something. You're just here." I was more than here. I was answering phones at Bennett Climate Control every morning by 7 o'clock. I was scheduling 4 field technicians across a 6-county service area. I was processing invoices, managing the customer database, and handling accounts receivable and payable. When the office manager quit in 2017, I took over her job. All of it. My father never gave me a title, never put me on payroll. When I asked about payment, he said the same thing every time. "Family doesn't pay family. Lily, this is how you contribute. Claire's got the babies to think about." Babies, plural. By then, Ethan was born when I was 23, another mouth for me to feed, Another diaper bag for me to carry. Another nap schedule taped to my fridge. I did the math once, late at night when I couldn't sleep. 35 hours a week at the office. 30 more watching Sophie and Ethan. 65 hours of unpaid labor. Every single week for 3 years. Minimum wage in Ohio was $12 an hour. That was $65,520 I'd given them. But it wasn't really about the money. It was about the fact that they'd turned my 20s into a waiting room for everyone else's life. I slept on Claire's couch 3 nights a week because Ethan had colic and Ryan's useless, she'd say. Ryan was her on-again, off-again boyfriend, the father of her children, a nice enough guy. But he worked nights, and Claire didn't believe in sleep training. My own bedroom at my parents' house became storage for Sophie's toys. The bed was covered in Claire's laundry. I had a corner, a lamp, a pile of library books I never had time to read. I was 24 years old. And I didn't have a life. I had duties. Then, in March of 2019, something changed. I'd been taking free online courses at night. Google Project Management Certification, Excel, Basic HR Principles. I didn't have money for real college, but I had Wi-Fi and Sophie's nap time. I learned. I built a resume that tried very hard to make office manager for a family HVAC company sound professional. I applied to 60 jobs over 4 months. Meridian Consulting Group was the only one that called back. The phone screen went well. The Zoom interview went better. Then they invited me to Columbus for an in-person final round. Executive assistant to the CEO, $63,500 a year. Benefits, professional development budget, travel opportunities. I read that email 30 times. I printed it, hid it under my mattress like a teenage diary. It was my exit visa. The position wasn't glamorous. I'd be scheduling meetings, managing correspondence, handling logistics, but it was real. It was mine. It was in Columbus, 105 miles away from Riverside, far enough to breathe. I told my parents I had a dental appointment in Toledo. I borrowed a blazer from my college friend, Hannah. Navy. Slightly too big, but professional enough. I practiced answers in the bathroom mirror. I researched the company until I could recite their mission statement in my sleep. The interview was scheduled for Monday, April 15th, at 2 p.m. I needed to leave the house by 11:30 to catch the 12:05 bus. At 10:45 that morning, I came downstairs with my purse and my folder of resume copies. I was wearing black slacks, a white blouse, and that borrowed blazer. My hair was in a neat bun. I had $17 and a bus ticket in my wallet. My mother was standing in front of the door, arms crossed, lips thin, that look on her face that meant the decision had already been made. "Where do you think you're going?" she said. "I told you, dentist," Claire called. "She has a brunch meeting with a potential sponsor for her blog. Very important. You need to watch Sophie and Ethan." My chest tightened. "I can't today. You have duties, Lily." My father's voice came from the kitchen. He walked into the hallway holding his coffee mug. He wasn't angry. He was amused. "That's what you have." I looked at the clock on the wall. 10:47. I had 78 minutes until the bus left. That's when Claire walked in through the side door. Ethan on her hip, Sophie trailing behind with her stuffed rabbit, and a diaper bag the size of a suitcase. She looked at me. No apology, no acknowledgement, just expectation. She set Ethan down on the floor, dropped the diaper bag at my feet. It made a heavy thump. Sophie needs lunch at noon, Claire said, checking her phone. Ethan naps at 1 o'clock. Don't let him sleep past 2:30 or he'll be up all night. I'll be back by 4 o'clock, probably. I can't, I said. My voice sounded far away. I have something important. Claire laughed. Actually laughed. More important than family. My father took a sip of coffee, looked at me like I was a disappointing employee. Girls like you don't get lives. Lily, you get duties. That's just how it is. Sophie looked up at me. 4 years old, blonde curls, my eyes. Lily, play blocks? Her little voice, her trust. I looked at her, then at the diaper bag, then at my mother, still blocking the front door, then at my father, leaning against the wall, then at Claire, already turning away, confident I'd stay. I looked at the clock. 10:49, and I did something I'd never done before. I stepped over the diaper bag, walked past Claire, past my father, through the kitchen, to the back door that led to the driveway. My mother's voice behind me. Lillian, if you walk out that door. I opened it. The April air was cold, 47 degrees, and overcast. The kind of gray morning that feels like it might rain. I walked down the driveway, turned left, started walking toward the bus station, 1.2 miles, in $12 Payless flats. My phone buzzed 6 times in my pocket. I didn't look. I passed Bennett Climate Control on the way. The building was lit, my father's truck in the lot, the sign with his name on it, the place I'd worked for 3 years without a single paycheck. I kept walking. I made it to the Riverside bus station at 11:58, 7 minutes to spare. I bought my ticket with the $17 I'd saved from birthday money over 2 years. The woman at the counter didn't ask why I was shaking. The bus pulled out at 12:05. I sat in the back row, watched Riverside disappear through the window, watched the trees turn into highway, watched the mile markers count up. I thought, I'm free. I didn't know yet what that freedom would cost. The bus stopped at a gas station in Findlay halfway through. 12:58. I went to the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My mascara had smudged from the wind. I didn't have a makeup bag. I wet paper towels and fixed my face as well as I could. Rolled the 2 long blazer sleeves. Checked my hair. I looked presentable. Not polished, but trying. A woman with a toddler in the bathroom stared at me. I avoided eye contact. I couldn't handle mother judgment that day. The bus arrived at Columbus Station at 1:57. The interview was at 2 o'clock. The Meridian office was 3 blocks away. I ran. Actually ran in those $12 flats. Purse bouncing. Folder clutched to my chest. Arrived at the lobby at 2:02, sweating and breathless. Victoria Collins was waiting. Chief of staff, mid-50s, sharp gray suit, kind eyes. She smiled when she saw me. You made it, she said. I almost cried, but I didn't. I smiled back and said, wouldn't miss it. She led me to a conference room, a panel interview. 3 people, Victoria, Mark Reynolds, the CFO, and Amanda Foster, operations manager. They asked about software skills, handling difficult clients, managing calendars across time zones, and discretion. I answered well. I used examples from Bennett Climate Control without saying it was a family business. Just a small HVAC company, 8 employees. I managed scheduling and customer service. Amanda leaned forward. You're self-taught in project management? Yes. I completed Google's certification while working full-time. I'm very motivated to learn. Victoria made a note. What would this position mean to you? I was careful, honest. It would mean building a career instead of just surviving. It would mean growth. They nodded, took notes. The interview ended at 3:15. Victoria walked me out. We'll be in touch within a week. You're a strong candidate, Lily. I floated to the bus station. The ride back to Riverside felt different, lighter. I'd done it, I'd walked out, I'd made it to the interview on my own, I'd answered every question. The interview went well, I had a real shot. By the time the bus pulled into Riverside at 5:38, I'd already started imagining my new life. I didn't know my mother had already started destroying it. I walked from the bus station to my parents' house. 6:05, the lights were on. Cars in the driveway. I used my key, walked in. The family was in the living room. Claire feeding Ethan, my father watching television, my mother in the kitchen. No one spoke. I went upstairs, pulled my old duffel bag from the closet, packed clothes for 5 days, my laptop, phone charger, toiletries, the folder with my certificates and resume copies, and $127 in cash I'd saved from birthday cards over 3 years. My mother appeared in the doorway. "You embarrassed this family today," she said. I zipped the bag. "I'm leaving. You'll be back." I looked at her. Really looked. "No, I won't." I slept one more night in that house, on the floor of my childhood bedroom because the bed was covered in Claire's laundry. Last night in that house, April 15th, 2019. I left at 6 a.m. the next morning. My father's truck was already gone. My mother was asleep. Claire's car was in the driveway. I walked out the front door, the one my mother had blocked. I left my key on the kitchen counter, and I took the Greyhound to Toledo. My college friend Hannah worked as a dental hygienist in Toledo. She had a studio apartment and a couch I could borrow. She asked one question. "You okay?" I said. "I will be." She handed me a blanket and didn't push. I slept on that couch from April 16th to May 3rd, 17 days. I applied to jobs every morning, checked my email obsessively for the Meridian response. It came on April 23rd, 8 days after the interview. Subject line, RIA, Executive Assistant Position. I opened it. "Dear Lily, thank you for your interest in the executive assistant position. After careful consideration, we have decided to move forward with another candidate whose qualifications more closely match our current needs. We wish you the best in your job search. Sincerely, Meridian HR Team. Generic, professional, no explanation." I read it 20 times, looking for clues. Found nothing. I cried once, in Hannah's bathroom. Then I washed my face and applied to 15 more jobs. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't know for 7 years, was that the day after my interview, my mother had sent an email from a fake account to Meridian's HR department, and that email was sitting in my file, flagged in red with a note that said, "Do not hire, family concerns." But on April 23rd, 2019, I just thought I'd failed. Let me pause here and ask you something. Have you ever been the family member who was just expected to sacrifice? The one who had duties while everyone else had dreams? If that's you, comment duty below. You're not alone, and stick with me, because this story gets a whole lot better. I got a job at Target in May, $11 an hour, cashier, then guest services. I moved into a cheap studio in Toledo in June, $425 a month. No AC. Loud neighbors. But it was mine. I saved every penny. Applied to office jobs every night. In December, I got a temp position at a law firm. $16 an hour, administrative support. It felt like progress. Then COVID hit in March 2020. Layoffs. I was let go. I had $3,200 saved. Unemployment benefits. Survival mode. I send a birthday card to Sophie every year, April 3rd. Her birthday. Never got a response. Not one. But I kept sending them. Return address, just LB. Columbus, Ohio. No phone number, no street. I sent them to my parents' house, knowing Claire visited there for Sunday dinners and free babysitting. The 2020 card said, "Happy 5th birthday. I think about you every day. Love. Aunt Lily." Silence. June 2020. I was scrolling LinkedIn at 11 p.m. Couldn't sleep. Rent due in 8 days. $1,840 left in savings. And then I saw it. HR coordinator. Meridian Consulting Group. Columbus. The company that had rejected me was hiring again. I stared at that posting for 3 hours. Then I applied at 2 a.m. I used Hannah's address. She had just moved to Columbus for a new job. I used a different email. Updated resume showing target. Law firm experience, Google certifications. Phone interview happened June 18th. Zoom on June 25th. Offer on July 2nd. $45,000 a year, HR coordinator. Start date. July 13th. I sat on my apartment floor when I got that email. Called Hannah. Cried. Didn't call my family. I moved to Columbus July 10th. Small one-bedroom apartment. $695 a month. 15-minute bus ride to Meridian. July 13th, 2020. I walked into Meridian Consulting Group. The same building I'd interviewed in April 2019. Different entrance, different role, different version of myself. I told myself, this time I'll make it stick. The first year was hard. I processed new hire paperwork, scheduled interviews, filed benefits forms, learned 8S systems. I stayed late, asked questions, volunteered for projects. Amanda Foster, one of the people who'd interviewed me in 2019, now VP of Operations, noticed. She became an informal mentor. "You're good at this," she said one day. "Have you thought about HR certification?" "I've thought about it, can't afford it yet. Company has tuition reimbursement. Look into SHRMCP. I'll sponsor you." I studied for the certification at night. Passed in January 2021. First professional credential with my name on it. I framed it. June 2021. Amanda called me into her office. "There's an HR specialist opening. Want to apply?" I said yes before she finished the sentence. I got the job, $52,000 a year. Then things started moving faster. I handled employee relations, compliance audits, led benefits open enrollment, investigated harassment complaints. I rewrote policies. I learned employment law. I trained new coordinators. March 2022. Senior HR specialist, $61,000. August 2023. HR manager, $76,000. I managed a team of 3. April 2024. HR director, $98,000 a year. I had an office on the 4th floor, a window facing the Columbus skyline. My name on the door. Lily Bennett, HR director. I took a photo of that door, sent it to no one, just kept it. I'd built something real, something mine. No one had given it to me. I'd climbed every step, and I'd done it in the same building where I'd been rejected 7 years ago. I thought that was the full circle. I was wrong. My life in Columbus was quiet, not glamorous, just real. I upgraded my apartment in 2023, $925 a month. Actual bedroom, quiet building. I had a small circle of friends. Hannah, 2 coworkers, a neighbor with a dog. I pet sat sometimes. I went to therapy starting October 2022. Processed the family stuff, learned about boundaries, learned that I don't owe them is a complete sentence. I tried dating, a few apps, nothing stuck. I decided to focus on myself. I saved 20% of every paycheck, had $18,000 in savings by 2024. First time in my life I felt financially secure. I deleted Facebook in 2022, kept LinkedIn for professional reasons only. No Instagram, no social media drama. Thanksgiving 2021, I almost called. I was alone in my apartment. Hannah was visiting family. I made boxed stuffing and rotisserie chicken from Kroger. I scrolled through old photos, saw a family picture, mom, dad, Claire, Ryan, the kids, Claire's new baby. Caption, thankful for family. I almost dialed, hand on phone, typed mom in my contacts, stared at it for 5 minutes. Then I deleted the contact instead. All of them. Mom, Dad, Claire. Erased the numbers. I whispered to my empty apartment. I'm thankful, too, for the back door. I didn't need them to be proud of me anymore. I was proud of myself. That had to be enough. April 15th, 2024, 5 years since the day I walked out. I woke up, made coffee, looked around my apartment, my furniture, my dishes, my books, my peace. I thought. I did it 2 years later. Everything would change again. April 8th, 2026. Tuesday morning. I was at my desk reviewing applications for a project coordinator position. We'd posted it 2 weeks ago. 89 applications. I was scrolling through the spreadsheet. Names, emails, phone numbers. Then I saw it. Claire Mitchell, formerly Bennett. My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. Claire Mitchell. My sister had gotten married. The boyfriend Ryan must have finally committed. Mitchell. The Riverside area code on the phone number. My hands didn't shake. I'd trained myself for composure in difficult situations, but my heart rate spiked. Claire didn't know I worked here. She didn't follow me on LinkedIn. She didn't know where I was. This was coincidence. Meridian was a good company. She was applying because it was a good job. She had no idea. I clicked on her application file. The resume loaded. Professional template, clean design, header. Claire Mitchell, project coordinator and operations specialist. I scrolled to work history, and that's when I saw it. Bennett Climate Control, Riverside, Ohio, operations manager, January 2017 to December 2019. Bullet points below. Managed daily office operations for 8-employee HVAC service company. Coordinated scheduling for 4 field technicians across 6 county service area. Processed invoices. Maintained customer database. Handled AR/AP. Reduced scheduling conflicts by 35% through improved systems. Maintained 98% customer satisfaction rating through effective communication. I read it 3 times. Every single bullet point was work I had done. January 2017 to December 2019. The exact years I'd worked there unpaid, the exact duties, even the 98% customer satisfaction. I'd calculated that in 2018 using customer feedback forms. Claire had worked at Bennett Climate for exactly 0 days. She'd had Sophie in 2015, been a stay-at-home mom, dabbled in blogging, MLM photography, never held an office job. She had stolen my work history. I scrolled down to references. 3 listed. 1. Richard Bennett, owner, Bennett Climate Control, former supervisor. 2. Megan Collins, client, Riverside Community Church, professional reference. 3. Laura Harper, former colleague, Riverside Photography Studio, peer reference. My father, listed as her former supervisor. He would lie for her. Of course he would. He'd always protected Claire. Standard Meridian background check process. Verify employment with listed employers. Call all references. Check for gaps or inconsistencies. Flag concerns before interview stage. I had 2 options. Option 1, flag the application for conflict of interest. Recuse myself. Let another HR team member handle it. Move on. Option 2, follow standard protocol exactly. Treat it like any other application. Let the process play out. But if I recused myself, I'd never know the full truth, and I wanted the truth on record. I chose option 2. I pulled up Claire's LinkedIn public profile. Job history matched her resume. Photos of her with the kids at her workspace. A kitchen table. Her bio. Mom of 3. Operations pro. Family-focused leader. I checked her employment history more carefully. 2020 to 2021, no job listed. 2021, sales associate, Target, 3 months. Then gap. 2022, administrative assistant, dental office, 5 months. Then gap. 2023, receptionist, gym, 4 months. Then gap. 2023 to 2024, virtual assistant, self-employed, no verifiable clients. Job hopping, no position longer than 5 months. No references from any of them except Dad. Claire was desperate, that much was clear, and she'd lied to get in the door. But I needed one more piece before I made my decision. I opened Meridian's applicant tracking system, searched Lily Bennett in archived files. 2 results. Application dated June 9, 2020, HR coordinator hired. Application dated April 8, 2019, executive assistant to CEO rejected. I clicked on the 2019 file. Resume. Cover letter. Interview notes from Victoria, Mark, Amanda. All positive, self-motivated, impressive initiative, strong candidate. Then, HR notes section. Red flagged entry dated April 16, 2019, 9:23 a.m. Received email from concerned party regarding candidate stability. See attached. Recommend you not proceed. K. Parker, HR coordinator. Attachment link. I clicked it. PDF opened. Email dated April 16, 2019, 8:47 a.m. from concerned neighbor 2019@gmail.com to hr@meridianconsulting.com. Subject: concerns about candidate Lily Bennett. I read it slowly. To whom it may concern. I am writing as a concerned community member who knows the Bennett family personally. I feel it is my duty to inform you that Lily Bennett, who interviewed for a position with your company yesterday, has significant personal and mental health issues that make her unsuitable for professional employment. Yesterday, April 15th, Lily abandoned her 4-year-old niece during a family emergency. Her sister had an urgent meeting, and Lily had agreed to provide childcare, but she left the child unattended and disappeared for hours. The family has been very worried about her increasingly erratic behavior. Lily has struggled with responsibility and commitment. She has never held steady employment and has a history of quitting jobs and obligations without notice. Her family has tried to help her, but she is resistant to support. I understand you must make hiring decisions based on qualifications, but I felt morally obligated to share this information. Lily may present well in interviews, but her actual behavior is unstable and unreliable. I hope you will take this into consideration for the safety and stability of your workplace. A concerned neighbor. I read it twice, then a third time. Every sentence was a lie or a distortion. Agreed to provide childcare. I'd been trapped, abandoned, unattended. Claire was there. My parents were there. Never held steady employment. I'd worked unpaid for 7 years. Erratic behavior, I'd simply left. Resistant to support, I'd escaped control. This sender, concernedneighbor2019@gmail.com. I checked the email metadata. IT skills from HR training. Email sent from Riverside. Ohio IP address, I cross-referenced. The IP traced to a residential address. My parents' home address. My mother had sent this, the day after the interview, to destroy my chance. They hadn't just blocked the door, they'd burned the bridge, and for 7 years, I thought I'd failed, that I wasn't good enough. But I'd been sabotaged, and Meridian still had the proof. If you're Team Lily right now, drop Team Her in the comments. Because what happened next? I've waited 7 years to tell this part. I sat at my desk, 11:37 a.m., coffee cold, mind racing. I had Claire's fraudulent resume, my mother's sabotage email from 7 years ago, my father listed as a reference who would lie, and the power to expose all of it. Part of me wanted to reject the application immediately, never speak to Claire again, move on. Part of me wanted confrontation, wanted them to know I knew, wanted justice. Part of me wanted to follow protocol exactly. Let the system work. Prove I was professional. I remembered my therapist's words from 2023. Justice doesn't have to be revenge. It can just be truth. I decided I would conduct standard employment verification, call my father, record the call, legal in Ohio with one-party consent, document everything. If fraud was confirmed, I'd follow company protocol, flag application, inform hiring manager, proceed to interview only if the candidate disclosed the discrepancy first. They never do. Let Claire's lies speak for themselves. I picked up my office phone, dialed Bennett Climate Control. It rang 3 times. Bennett Climate Control, Richard speaking. My father's voice. I hadn't heard it in 7 years. I kept my voice professional, cool. Hello, this is Lily Bennett, HR Director at Meridian Consulting Group in Columbus. I'm calling to verify employment for Claire Mitchell, who listed your company as a previous employer. Long silence. Then, Lily? Yes, this is employment verification. Standard procedure. Can you confirm Claire Mitchell, formerly Claire Bennett, worked at Bennett Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019 as operations manager? Another pause. This is... Yes, that's correct. Can you describe her responsibilities? She managed the office, scheduling, invoices, customer service. She was very good at it. Did she work full-time? Yes, full-time, very reliable. Why did her employment end in December 2019? She left to focus on family, had kids. Would you rehire her? His voice was confident now. Absolutely, Claire was one of the best we had. Every word was false, and I had it recorded. One more question. Thank you. One more thing. During that time period, January 2017 to December 2019, did you have any other employees performing those same operations manager duties? Pause. No, just Claire. That was the lie that mattered. Because I existed. I'd been there. I had tax records showing me as a dependent, not an employee. Old customer emails addressed to Lily Bennett, Bennett Climate Control. Thank you, I said. That's all I need. I hung up, saved the recording, wrote one line in Claire's file. Employment verification completed. Discrepancies noted. Recommend in-person interview to clarify. Because I wanted to look her in the eye. I sent the interview invitation a week later via the ATS system. Dear Claire, thank you for your application to the project coordinator position at Meridian Consulting Group. We would like to invite you for an in-person interview on Monday, April 14th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at our Columbus office. You will meet with Lily Bennett, HR Director, Jonathan Reeves, CEO, and Amanda Foster, VP of Operations. Please bring a government-issued ID and be prepared to discuss your previous experience in operations management. We look forward to meeting you. Best regards. Meridian HR Team. Claire responded the same day. Thank you so much. I'll be there, looking forward to it. No recognition of my name, no pause, no question. 7 years of separation meant Claire had never looked for me, never wondered, never cared. I told Jonathan and Amanda, candidate has potential resume fraud. Let me lead. They trusted me and said, okay, April 14th, 2026, 9:55 a.m. I sat in the conference room, Jonathan and Amanda flanking me. I watched the lobby entrance through the glass wall, waiting. 9:58. A woman walked into the lobby. Brown hair, familiar build, nervous smile, Target brand business casual, clutching a portfolio folder. Claire. Older than she'd been in 2019. 29 now. Tired around the eyes. Trying hard. She approached reception, said her name, got her visitor badge. The receptionist pointed toward our area. I stood, walked to the lobby, made eye contact. Claire looked up, saw me, froze. I extended my hand. Professional? Claire, I'm Lily Bennett, HR Director. Welcome to Meridian. Her face went white. Her hand, when she shook mine, was clammy. Lily, I didn't know you worked here. 7 years is a long time. Things change. Please follow me. I walked calmly. She followed, heels clicking. I could hear her breathing quicken as we passed the glass conference room where Jonathan and Amanda waited. I opened the door, gestured for her to sit. She sat facing 3 interviewers. I took the center seat. Control position. I smiled. Professional, kind even. Let's get started. Can you walk us through your resume? Claire opened her folder with shaking hands. The first 20 minutes were standard. Jonathan and Amanda asked about project coordination, software skills, and time management. Claire answered adequately, nervous but prepared. Amanda leaned forward. I see you worked at Bennett Climate Control. Tell me about that role. Yes, I was operations manager for 3 years. Small family business, I managed everything. Scheduling, customer service, billing. It taught me a lot about wearing multiple hats. I took notes. No expression. Family business? Yes, my father's company. I see. And what years were those again? 2017 to 2019. Full time? Yes. Jonathan asked about her employment gaps. She explained focusing on family, 3 children, some freelance virtual assistant work, ready to return to structured employment. I asked, "Can you provide references from any of the freelance clients?" She paused. They were mostly informal arrangements, word of mouth, nothing I have documentation for. At 10:22, Jonathan said, "Thank you. Claire, we'd like to take a short break. Lily will continue with you for a few follow-up questions." Planned. I'd asked them to leave after 20 minutes. Jonathan and Amanda left. Door closed. Just me and Claire. She looked at me finally. Really looked. "Lily, I didn't know you'd be..." I held up my hand. "Let's talk about your resume." I slid the printed resume across the table, pointed to the Bennett Climate Control section. You listed Operations Manager, January 2017 to December 2019. Is that accurate? Yes. Full-time, 40 hours per week. Well, it was flexible, family business. But you were paid. Pause. It was more of a family contribution, but I did the work. I called your reference, Richard Bennett. He confirmed you worked there full-time as operations manager. He said you were one of the best he had. Did you ask him to lie? I did work there. I helped out. Helped out? That's different from operations manager. Full-time, January 2017 to December 2019. I don't understand what you're... Claire. I kept my voice calm, cold. I worked at Bennett Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019, unpaid, full-time, doing the exact job you claimed on this resume. Every single bullet point here, I wrote them because they're my accomplishments. You took my work history and put your name on it. Her face went red, then white, then red again. She opened her mouth, closed it. I needed a job. Lily, I have 3 kids. Ryan left. I'm alone. I just needed something on the resume that looked professional, competent, real. Silence. 10 seconds. Then I slid the second document across the table, the email from April 16th, 2019. "What is this?" she said. An email sent to Meridian HR the day after I interviewed here 7 years ago from concernedneighbor2019@gmail.com. It claimed I was unstable, that I'd abandoned your daughter, that I was unemployable. I don't understand. It came from Mom. I traced the IP address. It came from her computer at the house the day after I walked out. I didn't know about that. But you knew they sabotaged my interview. You were there that morning. You dropped the diaper bag at my feet. You watched me leave. And you let them tell everyone I'd had a breakdown. Lily, I was 22, I had a 4-year-old, and I was pregnant. I was overwhelmed. I needed help. And I had a life-changing interview. I needed opportunity. You chose. They chose. I lost the job because of this email. And I didn't even know it existed until last week. Her voice rose. You left us. You just walked out like we meant nothing. I left because I was drowning. You turned me into your unpaid nanny. Mom and Dad turned me into free labor for 7 years. And when I finally tried to save myself, you destroyed me. Claire started crying, not delicate tears, ugly, desperate crying. I felt nothing. I'd cried all my tears years ago. Then Claire said the sentence that broke it all open. You don't know what it's been like. You left, and everything fell apart. We needed you. That's when I noticed the conference phone. The little light was on. The call was active. My phone lit up, text from Amanda. Lily, conference line. 12 people listening. My assistant had scheduled a 2:30 client call in this room. Set up the conference bridge to test audio at 2:15. It was now 10:38. But the system glitched. The line connected early. And 12 people are on it. Jonathan Reeves, Amanda, 3 senior managers, 6 client stakeholders, Victoria Collins, your original 2019 interviewer. They'd heard everything from let's talk about your resume onward. I looked at Claire, looked at the phone, looked at the speaker showing call active, 12 participants. Claire kept crying, not noticing. I lost my job in 2021, then 2022, then 2023. Nobody wants to hire a mom with gaps. You don't know how hard it is. I had to lie because nobody would give me a chance. I reached over, clicked the mute button, then unmuted, making sure they heard clearly. I could have ended the call. I could have protected her. 7 years ago, I would have. But I'd learned something. The truth deserves witnesses. Claire was spiraling, still not realizing she had an audience. Mom said you'd come crawling back. She said you'd fail, but you didn't. You got this job, and you didn't even tell us. You just let us think you were nothing. Do you know what Dad says about you? He says you're selfish. He says you abandoned family. And now you're sitting here judging me. I'm not judging you, Claire. I'm conducting a background check. And you lied on your resume. That's fraud. It's not fraud. I helped at the company. Helped, past tense, occasionally, while I worked 40-hour weeks unpaid. You claimed my job, my work, my accomplishments, and Dad lied to verify it. We're family. You're supposed to help family. I did, for 7 years, and the day I tried to help myself, you blocked the door. Claire stood up, screamed. You think you're better than me because you have some fancy director title? You're nobody. You'll always be nobody. Girls like you... She stopped because I was staring at her. Finish that sentence, I said quietly. She sat down, face collapsing. My office phone rang. I answered. Jonathan's voice. Lily, I need you to end this interview now. Security is outside. Understood. I looked at Claire. This interview is over. The door opened. 2 security officers, professional, not aggressive. Ma'am, we need you to come with us. Claire looked up. Wait, what? Why? You're being escorted out for a fraudulent application. It's company policy. Lily, please, I'm sorry. I needed this. Please don't do this. I stood, professional. I'm sorry, Claire. I can't hire someone who committed resume fraud. I have to protect this company's integrity. Security led her to the elevator. I didn't follow, just watched from the conference room doorway. Claire looked back once. My face was calm, not cruel, not gloating, just done. I walked back to the conference table, spoke clearly into the speaker. This concludes the candidate interview. I'll send a formal report by the end of the day. Thank you. Disconnected. I sat alone in that room for 5 minutes. Didn't cry, didn't celebrate. Just sat. Then my desk phone rang. Jonathan's office. He was there with Amanda, Victoria Collins, and our general counsel, David Lawson. I thought, I'm fired. Lily, Jonathan said, leaning forward. That was one of the most professional handlings of a conflict of interest I've ever seen. You followed protocol, you documented everything. You gave her every chance to be honest. Are you okay? I was surprised. Yes, I'm okay, Amanda said. We heard everything. The sabotage from 2019, the resume fraud, the family dynamics. I'm so sorry you went through that. Victoria spoke next. Lily, I was your interviewer in 2019. I never saw that email. HR flagged you, and I was told to move on to other candidates. If I'd known... David, our general counsel, said, "We need to discuss next steps. The candidate committed application fraud. We have recorded evidence of reference fraud. We have 12 witnesses to her admission. We also have evidence your family sabotaged your 2019 application. You have grounds for legal action if you choose. I don't want legal action against my family. I just want it on record. And I want to make sure Claire can't do this to another company." Jonathan nodded. "Understood. We'll flag her in our industry network, but that's professional consequences, not personal revenge." Amanda handed me a tissue. I hadn't realized I was crying. I went home that day, turned off my phone, and slept for 14 hours. The next 48 hours were chaos. April 14th, 6 p.m. Claire called my work line 12 times. April 14th, 8:30 p.m. My father called, left a voicemail. "This is a family matter. You had no right. Call me." April 15th, 9 a.m. My mother called Meridian's main line asking for me. The receptionist said she'd pass the message. Didn't. April 15th, 1 p.m. Claire showed up at Meridian's lobby. Security turned her away. April 15th, 3 p.m. My father showed up, demanded to see me, refused to leave. Security called the police. He was escorted out for trespassing. April 16th. Emails to my work account. All went to spam. Sample voicemail from my father. "Lily, this is your father. What you did to your sister is unconscionable. She has 3 kids to feed. You humiliated her. You destroyed her chances of employment. This family gave you everything. And this is how you repay us. You will regret this. Call me." Sample email from my mother. Subject line: "How could you? Lily, I don't know what happened to you. You used to be such a sweet girl. Now you're cruel. Claire is devastated. The children are asking why Aunt Lily hates them. Your father is beside himself. Please, for the sake of this family, fix this. Get Claire that job. You have the power. Be the bigger person. Mom." I didn't respond to any of it. April 17th, I hired a lawyer, sent a cease and desist letter to all 3 family members. No contact via phone, email, or in person. Any violation would result in a restraining order. The letter included documentation of the 2019 sabotage email, evidence of harassment, and a statement. Lily Bennett wishes no contact with Richard Bennett, Margaret Bennett, or Claire Mitchell. She will communicate only through legal counsel, if necessary. 3 weeks of silence. Then, a message from someone I never expected. May 8th, 2026. Instagram DM to my professional account. "Hi, this is Sophie, Claire's daughter, your niece. I'm 11. I know you probably won't answer, but I wanted to say thank you for the birthday cards. I kept all of them. Mom threw them away, but I took them out of the trash. I have 7 cards from you. I kept them in a box under my bed. I don't know what happened with you and my mom. She won't talk about it, but Grandma said you abandoned us. And Grandpa said you're selfish. But you sent me cards every year. That doesn't seem like abandoning. I found your LinkedIn because Mom was looking you up and crying. I saw you work at a big company. I think that's cool. I want to work at a big company someday. 2, I'm not asking you to talk to Mom. I just wanted you to know I got the cards. And I miss you. I don't really remember you, but I miss you anyway. Sophie? I sobbed for 20 minutes. Then I replied carefully. Sophie, thank you for your message. I'm so glad you kept the cards. I think about you every year on your birthday. I hope you're doing well in school and that you're happy. You're a brave kid for reaching out. I'm not ready to have contact with your mom or grandparents right now, but I'm glad to hear from you. If you ever need anything as you grow up, advice about school, careers, life, you can message me. I'll always respond. Take care of yourself. Aunt Lily. I didn't give my phone number. Kept it to Instagram DMs. Didn't promise more than I could give. Sophie replied, "Thank you, that's enough." 1 month later, she sent another message. Mom got a job at a call center. She's mad all the time. But I got an A on my English essay. I wanted to tell someone who'd care. And I did care. That was the relationship I saved from the wreckage. May through August 2026. Weekly therapy, processing everything. Grief. I mourned the family I'd wished for. Accepted the family I actually had. Anger. I let myself be angry without guilt. Anger at being used, lied about, sabotaged, guilt. I worked through, should have helped clear more thoughts. Recognized I'd already given 7 years. Closure. I understood I'd never get an apology from my parents. Peace, I found it. Anyway. My therapist said, "You didn't destroy your sister's life. She did that with lies. You just refused to be part of the lies anymore." I started running. First time exercising for myself. Not to fit into borrowed blazers or look good for family photos, just because my body felt good moving. August 15th, 2026, 4 months after the interview. I got an email from Victoria Collins. Subject line: "Something you should see. Lily." I've been going through old files after our conversation. I found something. In 2019, we were going to offer you the executive assistant position. I had drafted the offer letter. Salary $63,500. Start date April 29th, 2019. It was ready to send. Then HR flagged your file because of that email. I was told to stop the hiring process. I never sent this offer. You deserve that job. You deserve to know you'd earned it. I'm sorry we failed you. Attached is the unsigned offer letter dated April 22nd, 2019. 7 years too late. But I wanted you to have it. You were good enough then. You're exceptional now. Victoria. I printed it, framed it next to my current business card, both hung on my home office wall. The validation I'd needed for 7 years. I'd been good enough, I'd earned it, they'd stolen it. But I'd built something better anyway. April 15th, 2027, 8 years since the back door, 1 year since Claire's interview. I'm still HR director at Meridian, actually. I was promoted in January, VP of People Operations now, $115,000 a year. I launched a company mentorship program for young professionals from controlling families. It's small, quiet, but it matters. I still get occasional messages from Sophie. She's 12 now, thriving despite the chaos at home. We talk about books, school, her dreams. I'm not her parent, but I'm someone who sees her, and that's enough. My parents moved to Florida, retired, no contact. the cease and desist held. Claire is working retail management in Riverside. She blocked me on all platforms. I heard through LinkedIn that she's doing okay, not great, but okay. I'm dating someone now, slow, healthy, no rush. I have $34,000 saved. Good credit. I own my car outright. I have friends, therapy every other week, a life I built from scratch. And I have peace. This morning, I was training a new HR coordinator, 22 years old, nervous, eager. She asked, "How do you spot resume fraud?" I smiled. Look for gaps. Look for inflated titles. Look for claims without evidence. And always verify with the actual employer, not just the reference they give you. Have you ever caught someone? Once, it was personal. But I handled it professionally. That's the key. You can have history with someone and still do your job with integrity. She nodded, took notes. I looked at my calendar. April 15th, 2027, 8 years. I typed a note years ago. Never deleted it. The day I chose the back door, I added one word. Free. If this story meant something to you, if you've walked out a back door, or you're still standing at one, deciding, share this video. Someone in your life might need to hear it. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Real people, real boundaries, real freedom. And remember, the front door isn't the only exit. Sometimes the back door is the one that saves you. Some doors you walk away from. Some doors close behind you. And some doors, like the back door I took 7 years ago, lead exactly where you need to go. Thanks for listening.